Mike is a top-tier chef. The pork belly must be pan-seared until it's crispy on the outside and tender within. The bacon has to be cooked until it's perfectly crisp but not burnt. He uses the back of his knife to spread butter across the bread, then places it on the griddle, flipping it back and forth for 2 minutes before adding the pre-prepared cheese slices. All the while, he keeps a careful eye on how crispy the bottom is getting. Once the cheese melts to a golden, gooey perfection, the sandwich is ready. With just one bite, his son's face absolutely lights up with satisfaction. Mike is the head chef at a trendy local restaurant. He has 6 assistants, but he always prefers to do everything himself. From selecting ingredients to prepping them, from cooking to plating, he handles nearly every step personally. This comes from Mike's genuine passion for great food. However, his obsession with work cost him his marriage. He and his ex-wife had an agreement that Mike would take their son to the amusement park every Saturday morning. Today, he's running late again, and their planned amusement park trip has turned into a father-son grocery shopping adventure at the local market. A food critic is coming to the restaurant tonight, and Mike absolutely has to get fresh ingredients ahead of time. Mike had specially prepared several creative new dishes, but then the restaurant owner walked in. He demanded that Mike stick to the signature dishes to impress the critic. No weird experimental stuff. Having his creativity shot down like that really ticked Mike off. But since the guy was his boss, Mike had no choice but to go along with it. He had to make the same signature dishes he'd been preparing for 5 years, unchanged. And this wasn't the first time the boss had pulled this stunt. Mike felt like his relationship with the owner was just like being a puppet on strings, controlled by someone else. That evening, Mike and his coworkers headed to a bar to wait for the food critic's review. He figured the signature dishes should be safe bets, but the critic completely trashed them, saying Mike lacked imagination and didn't know how to innovate boldly. This was really hard for Mike to swallow, especially since he could have made those creative, much tastier dishes he'd planned. When Mike got home, he opened his social media and discovered that this food critic had hundreds of thousands of followers. That scathing review was being shared everywhere. Watching his signature dish, the one he'd been perfecting for 10 years, get torn apart like that, Mike immediately fired back at the critic. Not being too familiar with the app, he thought he was sending a private message, but accidentally posted it in the comments section instead. His response instantly drew a crowd of onlookers, and overnight he gained 2,000 new followers. The food critic wasn't about to back down either, immediately hitting back with incredibly harsh language. The two of them got into a very public online feud, neither willing to give an inch, until Mike basically challenged the critic to a food showdown. This time, Mike was determined to make the critic eat his words. Literally, he spent an entire day developing a new menu. Everyone who tried it was blown away. It was spicy, aromatic, and absolutely unforgettable. By dinner time, the restaurant was completely booked. Everyone was expecting Mike to really show what he could do, and this was one of the rare times Mike actually felt excited about work, because he could finally cook what he wanted to cook. But then the owner showed up again. He ordered Mike to change the menu at the last minute and go back to the signature dishes. This time, Mike could barely contain his rage. The boss's repeated interference and rejection finally pushed this usually patient chef past his breaking point. In a fit of anger, Mike told his boss exactly where he could stick his job. He packed up 2 boxes of ingredients and headed home, channeling all that pent-up frustration into his cooking. For Mike, those unchanging signature dishes felt like shackles on his soul. Only when he was at home, cooking whatever he wanted to cook, could he find that sense of complete freedom.